ever get that feeling?
Yeah.
Like totally torn between two things. Neither one feels quite right, you know?
Totally.
Or maybe they both seem awesome.
Yeah.
But you got to pick just one.
I've been there.
We've all been there, right? That's like those inner crossroads.
Yeah.
You know, where what you want and what you're supposed to do just clash.
Those moments, those are like so core to being human.
They are.
It's those tough choices that teach us the most
I think so.
about ourselves, you know, and what makes us tick.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Okay.
You sent this super interesting paper.
Yeah.
It's an academic paper. And it looks at these two literary figures.
Okay.
Brutus from Julius Caesar Shakespeare.
Oh, cool.
And then Bimala from Tagore's The Home and the World.
All right.
And it's using psychology to like break down their inner struggles.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
And they use Kurt Lewin's theory of conflict to really understand like what was going on in their heads when they made those big decisions.
Interesting.
So our mission for this deep dive is
Yeah.
we really want to get inside the heads of Brutus and Bimala,
Okay.
understand what kind of conflicts they were dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
how those conflicts drove their stories forward,
Okay.
and like what are the big themes that pop out.
I like it.
It's like we're psychological detectives
Right.
in the world of literature.
Cool.
Okay, so to help us out here,
Yeah.
let's quickly recap Kurt Lewin's theory.
Give us the framework.
Yeah, he had these three main types of conflict.
Okay.
Approach,
Uh-huh.
like picking between two amazing vacations,
Oh, man.
right? Avoidance, that's being stuck between like a hard conversation you got to have,
Oh, I hate those.
yeah, or letting a problem fester,
Oof. Yeah.
and then approach avoidance.
Okay.
You really want to eat that cake,
Mm.
but you know it's not good for you.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
So those are going to be really helpful. Yeah, as we look at Brutus and Bimala.
All right, let's start with Brutus.
Okay, so Brutus,
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat in Julius Caesar,
Yeah.
he's got this huge inner struggle.
Okay.
He's super loyal to Caesar, his friend,
Right.
but he's also all about the Roman Republic.
Yeah.
And he's terrified that Caesar's ambition
Uh-huh.
is going to turn into tyranny.
Makes sense.
And this sets the stage for the whole play.
Yeah, I mean, that tension is like palpable
It is.
right from the start.
Right. And the paper points out,
Yeah.
Brutus actually says it out loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He
Is that
says,
what?
I love Caesar,
Mm-hmm.
but I fear that Caesar's ambition may lead to tyranny.
Wow. So it's not black and white for him at all.
Not at all.
It's this clash of two powerful feelings.
Exactly. And the paper was saying
Yeah.
that kind of pull in two directions
Mm-hmm.
can cause serious psychological stress.
It makes sense, right? When you're so torn
Yeah.
like that.
And it gets even more intense in the orchard scene.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that soliloquy?
So powerful.
So powerful.
What does the paper say about that?
Well, they highlight how Brutus is basically rationalizing.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to convince himself
Mm-hmm.
that Caesar's got to go.
Right.
Not because of what Caesar has done,
Yeah.
but because of what he might do.
Oh, wow. So he's like preemptively.
Yeah, he's like, if we let him get too powerful,
Yeah.
he's going to become a tyrant.
Interesting.
And that's the moment he chooses Rome
Over Caesar.
over his friend.
Heavy stuff.
And the paper was saying
Uh-huh.
that this rationalizing,
Yeah.
it can be a way to deal with cognitive dissonance.
Oh, okay.
That's when you have beliefs or values that clash.
Right, right.
So he's like trying to make his choice feel okay.
By justifying it to himself.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
And there's that other part
Yeah.
where he says the conspirators don't need an oath.
Oh, that's right.
That really jumped out at me.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Well, the paper suggests
Uh-huh.
that it shows how much he wants to be honorable.
Even while plotting to kill someone.
Right. He's like, our cause is noble enough.
Yeah.
We don't need a formal oath.
So he's trying to hold on to some sense of morality.
Totally. He's uncomfortable with the sneaky stuff.
Right.
He wants to believe they're doing the right thing.
It's like he's trying to fit this necessary evil
Yeah.
into his own code of ethics.
Exactly. And then there's that whole thing
Oh, yeah.
about killing Mark Antony.
Uh-huh.
And Brutus is totally against it.
Right.
He thinks it's too much violence.
Yeah.
It'll make him look bad.
Like bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Not honorable.
He wants to stay on the moral high ground.
So using Lewin's framework,
Yeah.
what kind of conflict would you say Brutus is dealing with?
Before the assassination,
Uh-huh.
I'd say it's classic approach avoidance.
Okay. I
So
saw.
the approach is like that positive goal.
Yeah.
Protecting Rome from tyranny. And the avoidance is the horrible part.
Betraying his friend.
Yeah, killing Caesar.
Right. So he's drawn to the outcome, but repelled by what it takes to get there.
And it's all tied together.
It's all part of the same situation.
Exactly.
You'd think after the assassination it'd be easier.
Right.
Less conflict.
Yeah, but the paper argues it actually changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it morphs into something else.
Interesting.
I mean, just Caesar's ghost showing up.
Right.
That tells you Brutus isn't exactly at peace.
Yeah, for sure.
But the paper focuses on a different conflict.
Okay, what is it?
So after the assassination, Brutus is in a tough spot politically,
Yeah.
militarily too.
Yeah.
And the paper says he's facing an avoidance conflict.
Okay, so like two bad options.
Exactly.
What are they?
So on one hand,
Uh-huh.
he could keep fighting the Civil War.
Against Antony and Octavius?
But that's looking pretty bad.
Yeah.
Likely to lose more bloodshed.
Right.
But on the other hand, if he surrenders, total dishonor.
Probably death, too.
Yeah, it's a classic rock in a hard place.
Oof.
And the paper mentions that scene with Cassius. They're talking about how things are going downhill.
Right.
And there's that line about the tide in the affairs of men.
Yeah.
It just emphasizes how bleak things are.
Oh, boy.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even though he knows they're probably going to lose, Brutus chooses to keep fighting.
Wow.
And the paper suggests
Yeah.
that this shows his dedication to his principles.
Even if it means losing.
Yeah, like he made his choice about Caesar, and now he's got to see it through,
No matter what.
no matter the cost.
So even though both options are terrible,
Yeah.
he picks the one that feels...
More aligned with his sense of duty,
Right.
and maybe he hopes to prove he was right.
Even if it causes more suffering.
It's tragic.
It really is.
So how does this all end for Brutus?
Well, the paper argues that his suicide, it's another avoidance conflict.
Oh, okay.
Instead of being captured,
Right.
humiliated,
Yeah.
executed by Antony and Octavius,
Yeah.
he chooses to end his own life
It's like he sees death,
as the lesser of two evils.
the less awful option.
Right.
The paper says he thinks it's a way to,
To hold on to some honor,
yeah,
maybe even atone for what he's done.
in his own eyes at least.
It's a heartbreaking end.
So sad, driven by these
Right.
impossible choices.
Powerful stuff.
Okay, so let's move on to Bimala now.
Okay. Bimala from The Home in the World.
Yeah.
All right.
So her story starts out very different from Brutus. She's a devoted wife.
Yeah.
Her whole world revolves around her husband, Nikhil.
Okay.
The paper quotes her as saying,
What does she say?
her sight and mind were occupied with him alone, and no place held as much charm as the one with her husband.
Wow. So she's content.
Totally traditional marriage.
Right. And Nikhil seems pretty progressive for the time.
Yeah, the paper mentions that too.
What do they say?
Well, they highlight his belief in her freedom.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they quote him saying, I would have my wife be free. I would rather have my love consigned to oblivion than be a woman enslaved.
Wow. So he's all about her independence.
Yeah, which makes what happens next even more interesting.
Okay, what happens?
Well, Sandip enters the picture,
Okay.
and he brings with him all this passion for the Swadeshi movement.
Okay, the nationalist movement.
And for Bimala, this is something totally new.
Like a whole new world.
Yeah, and the paper really emphasizes this.
Uh-huh.
They quote Bimala saying,
What does she say?
Sandip's words aroused no mere echo in my heart. They went deeper into the very substance of my being. He lit up the whole country, every town and every village.
So she's deeply affected by him.
Yeah, it's like he's offering her something
more.
something bigger than just her home life.
Right.
So where do you see Lewin's theory here?
With Bimala.
Yeah.
I'd say it's approach avoidance again.
Yeah, I think so too.
So the approach is Sandip
Uh-huh.
and the nationalist movement.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It gives her purpose.
Right, like a connection to something bigger.
Uh-huh. And the avoidance is betraying Nikhil.
Yeah, her husband.
Right, and going against her own values.
Like the traditional life she knows.
It's that classic pull between the new and the familiar.
Yeah.
But with that added layer of morality.
Exactly.
Because of her relationship with Nikhil.
And the paper talks about how Sandip's speeches really get to her.
Oh, yeah. She says he's like...
He has fire flowing from his tongue.
Right, and it like ignites something in her.
Totally. She feels empowered.
But at the same time, the paper points out that she starts to get uncomfortable.
With Sandip's methods? They're not always ethical?
Right, and she's worried about Nikhil.
Yeah. What it might do to him.
So that's the avoidance kicking in.
Yeah, she's seeing the potential harm.
Of getting involved with Sandip.
And there's this part where she questions her own identity.
What does she say?
Who am I? What is my true being?
Wow.
It's like she's caught between two identities.
Right? The wife and this new self.
Yeah, and the paper uses this great image of her being drawn to Sandip like a moth to a flame.
Oh, wow.
So she's drawn to him.
But it might burn her.
Yeah, and then things escalate.
Uh-huh.
When Sandip convinces her to do something big.
What does he convince her to do?
He gets her to steal money from Nikhil.
Oh, wow.
Saying it's for the Swadeshi cause.
So appealing to her idealism.
Exactly. And the paper breaks this down really well.
Okay, how so?
They show the approach and avoidance aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So the approach is that feeling of power.
Yeah.
Like she's making a difference.
Right.
The paper quotes her feeling a new meaning, a new fulfillment being part of a larger cause.
So it's intoxicating for her.
It is, but the avoidance, it's huge.
Yeah.
She's betraying her husband.
Stealing from him.
The guilt, the fear of losing his love.
That's going to be heavy.
So heavy. And the paper quotes her saying, the dread of losing Nikhil's love and the shame of my deceit was gnawing at my heart.
So she's torn up inside.
Completely. And then there's this part where she tries to rationalize it.
Oh, what does she say?
She's like, it is not stealing a sacrifice I am making for my religion.
Wow, so she's trying to convince herself it's okay.
Yeah, it's like she knows it's wrong.
But she needs to justify it.
Yeah.
To make it fit with this higher purpose.
Exactly. So it's still approach avoidance.
She's drawn to the cause, but repelled by the action.
Exactly.
So what happens after the betrayal?
Well, things get even more complicated.
Uh-huh.
The paper explains that Bimala starts to see Sandip for who he really is.
Oh, okay.
Selfish, manipulative.
So her illusions are shattered.
Yeah, and now she's facing the consequences of her actions.
Wow.
And this leads to a new conflict.
Oh, what kind?
It's avoidance. Avoidance.
Okay, two bad options again.
Exactly.
What are they this time?
She can either keep following Sandip.
Who she now knows is bad news.
Yeah.
Or
reject him and the movement.
Which means giving up this new part of herself.
Yeah, the paper quotes her disillusionment.
What does she say?
My illusions had fallen away from me. I had come to see how this nationalist excitement was but a new dress for the same old desires, and I was not deceived any longer by Sandip's words.
So she's seen through him.
Completely, but she's still stuck.
Yeah.
The paper also quotes her saying, I was divided between my love for Sandip's voice and my hatred for Sandip's methods.
That's so powerful. It really captures that avoidance.
It does.
She's drawn to him but repelled by his actions.
Yeah, no good choices.
And so different from Brutus's ending.
Yeah, she doesn't die.
It's more like a moral awakening.
Even though it hurts.
Yeah, full of pain and disillusionment.
And the paper makes a big deal out of this.
Yeah.
In their comparison of Brutus and Bimala.
Okay, what do they say?
Well, they point out that even though they both betray someone close.
For something they believe in.
Right. And they both go through those shifts in conflict.
From approach avoidance to avoidance.
Yeah, their motives and outcomes are really different.
So what are the key differences?
Well, for Brutus, it's all about politics.
Bloody honor.
But Bimala's is way more personal.
Oh, okay.
It's longing nationalism, her own identity.
So their reasons for betraying are different.
Yeah, and the nature of the betrayal.
Yeah.
Brutus is all about loyalty to a friend versus duty to the state.
Right, a very public thing.
But Bimala's is about her marriage versus passion and beliefs.
So much more personal.
And of course, their endings are different.
Oh yeah, one dies, one lives.
But the paper says they're both tragic figures.
Because of these internal conflicts?
Exactly. They're trapped by forces outside their control.
Yeah.
And their own inner struggles.
It's really fascinating.
What's the big takeaway for our listener?
Well, I think using Kurt Lewin's theory really helps us understand Brutus and Bimala.
Yeah, their choices weren't just random.
Right, they weren't just sudden changes of heart.
They were the result of these intense internal battles.
Being torn in different directions.
By different desires, duties, fears.
It makes their actions make more sense.
Even the ones that seem wrong.
Yeah, it gives us context.
And it makes you realize that these kinds of conflicts, this push and pull.
Of different forces.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Not just in literature.
Yeah, in our own lives, too.
It makes you think.
It does.
About times you've been in those situations.
Right. Approach avoidance. Avoidance.
Yeah, think about a time you had to make a tough choice.
Yeah.
What were the factors involved?
So understanding these theories.
Like Lewin's.
Help us see our own choices in a new light.
It's a good tool to have.
Definitely. And if you're curious to learn
What
more,
about Brutus and Bimala?
yeah, go read the original works.
Shakespeare's Julius Caesar.
And Tagore's The Home and the World.
They're such amazing stories.
Yeah, they offer so much insight into
human condition.
our inner struggles.
It's all still relevant today.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Well,
It's always so interesting to see how psychology can help us understand literature.
and ourselves.
Exactly.
Until next time.
Until our next deep dive.
Bye.